Hi neighbors. I'm in the kitchen today, so you see the inside of my house, a smidge of it. Like I said, it's under renovation, so we got to get in here and make some strawberry jam. Over the weekend, my brother-in-law was so kind to go and get 3 flats, or 8 pounds per flat, of strawberries. So on Sunday, my sister and I sat and cut up all of those. So it made it really easy for me to get in here and make the jam. So I'm going to show you what utensils I use, how to water bath can strawberry jam. We call it Voodoo in my circle of friends because I made it for someone once. Hi, Amy. And she said, "What kind of wild voodoo is this?" And I adore her. She loved the jam, and it's just been called Voodoo since then. It's not overly sweet. I do a lower ratio of fruit to sugar so that we don't just take a bite of the jam and you get a mouthful of sugar. So we use low sugar pectin, so the pectin balances out the lesser measurement of sugar that you're using so that it will set into jam. And I just want to forewarn you guys. Some people call it preserves because there will be chunks of strawberries. We do like some chunks in it. Some people call it jelly. Some people call it jam. I call it strawberry jam. It does have some chunks in it. Maybe it's preserves. I'm not sure, but it all tastes great. So I want to share with you the tools that I use, how I go about doing it, and the set time. So, woohoo! Okay, so I've got you set up here to show you my pot that I use. And I do have a Le Creuset pot, but my mother bought this one from Amazon for me because I was doing a lot of canning and a lot of batch cooking, and I needed another one. I needed the Le Creuset and another thick bottom pot to use. And I'll be honest with you, the Creuset makes great beef tips, pot of chili, soups and stuff, but when it comes to canning and even heat on your fruit, this has a very flat, wide bottom where the Le Creuset does not. And this one holds a double batch of fruit. So I'll find this on Amazon and link it below so that you can get one too. But we're going to do a double batch of strawberry jam today. And I've already got my water going. So I want to reiterate that for jam, you only need to water bath can. So you can use a big pot like I have here. This is an 18-quart pot. It can do a double batch at one time, double stack. But you need to, if you're going to use a regular pot that is not a pressure canner for water bath, then you need to buy these. And they have the little divots that keep your jars off the metal so that you're not setting a glass jar on a very hot, direct heat source. So you need one of these in the bottom. And then if you're going to double stack jars for water bath or pressure canning, you'll need another one of these between the first layer of jars and the second layer of jars. I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this. I wanted to show it to you, how it has the bubbles. It's kind of like when you buy a soda and you push those in. But you need this on the bottom. You can also use a towel, an old towel, a thicker cheesecloth, some of those work towels. I've even used these linen style old dish towels. But you've got to have something to protect your jars from that direct heat. So let's put this in here and it'll sink to the bottom. That's still heating up. And let me get my ingredients. Okay, so when she and I cut them up, we put them in these quart bags, ease of transport. So I am going to measure these. So for every 6 cups of fruit, blackberries, strawberries, blueberries, all of the berries, not peaches. I have done it this way for peaches. It does work, but you've got to use the Immersion blender to smooth it out. But berries, you need 6 cups of fruit to 4 cups of sugar. So it doesn't matter what fruit. 4 cups of sugar, 6 cups of fruit. And I used to know how many cups were in this, but 1, 2, 3, and 1 on the floor. Days you need a dog. Help you clean up. 5, 6. So I'm doubling it. I want 12 cups. 8. Got a little extra. 9. That extra makes 10. And my family will tell you I do not measure exactly. When you're pressure canning, it's more important to do that. Here, this jam will set 12. I'm just going to finish off a little bit more of this. Okay. Get the one off the floor. Alrighty. We got 12 cups of fruit. So now we need 8 cups of sugar. But the rules for the pectin is to divide 1 cup off and mix it with a whole package of pectin. So for this recipe, and we're doubling it, we're going to need to separate 2 cups and 2 packages of pectin and leave our other 6 cups because we have 12 cups of fruit. We need 8 cups of sugar, 2 separated to mix with the pectin, and 6 to put in later. So let me get the sugar. Okay, you all know I like to do it clean, but I found that this pure cane sugar, Zuka, works really well for canning. I also get my fine ground sugar, cane sugar from Azure in 25-pound bags. I do have a bucket with a gamma lid on it that's sealed tight for my sugar that I buy from Azure, and I can use, when we get the garden producing and we're doing all this canning, bread and butter, pickles, and other things that call for sugar, you'll see me get the big bucket out because it will be cups and cups and cups of sugar. But for right now, we're going to use this one. I didn't set it up so good today. Hang on a second. It'll work. So, 2 cups of sugar. In my bowl. This Sure Jell, the pink one, my favorite color. You see I'm representing today with my 80s shirt on, and it says for use in less or no sugar needed recipes. So we're going to mix this with our 2 cups of reserved sugar. Just tilt that a little. I've never had a lid blow off, but today can't be the day. Okay, that's the first one. And inside these boxes, there's usually a tear out little packet that will give you some recipes and ideas on cooking times, measurements, classic recipes to do jams, jellies, desserts with pectin. So I'm mixing this first because it goes in with your fruit. So I could get a spoon, but isn't this fun? So we just want to mix this around, mix it around, get kind of, there's clumps in the pectin, no big deal. Just mixing it together so that it's evenly distributed in our fruit. Nothing like wearing a little. I don't wear an apron either. Apron. I own them. Vintage ones. Beautiful ones. I don't wear them. I just have to clean up when I'm done. Okay. So this is all mixed around. We want that in there. And we're going to turn it on. Now, I like to get it going pretty high for starting out. And then I'm going to turn it to just a smidge. I am cooking on a gas stove. And it goes wild. My beloved wooden spoon here. So we're mixing all this pectin and sugar in here. Get her mixed in here. Make sure, I always like to make sure there's not a clump of sugar just sitting on the bottom to become candy. Hard block of sugary candy. Alright. So that's all mixed up. This is heating up pretty good. So, yep, I already hear it sizzling along, getting the juice out of there. So, while this comes to a boil, we want to put one well, we've doubled the recipe, so we want 2 tablespoons of butter in here because it helps with the foam. It's optional. You don't have to put it in there. I don't know if it makes the voodoo better, but I always do it. Someone had recommended that a couple of years ago, so I've been doing it. Bada bing. Works great. All right, let's get our butter. This is the 8 ounce that I cut in half to make sticks. I have one of those old school butter dishes. The big square block doesn't fit. So 1, 2 pats of butter and a teaspoon per batch. So 6 cups, 1 teaspoon. We need 2 teaspoons in this, and that's about how much I have left in my old aluminum style shaker. So they're starting to stick a little on the side, so I'm going to get them down to medium, and I just want them to get up to heat and the butter to melt, and then I want them to boil. So while those are still working, put my butter up. We were talking about 4 cups total per batch. We've already taken 2 cups out. So 4 cups and 4 cups is 8. We only need 6 cups. So when this comes to a boil, we're going to put 6 cups of sugar in it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One of those was short. So we just leave this aside until we're ready. Get all the clumps out. Alright, smooth. And I'll be back when this is ready to put the sugar in. I need to get the jars. I have limited counter space. I'll be back. I take the label off and I stick it on the front. It's kind of squishy on this one. Not so great. But these are my buckets. And I have all the sugar in there. And this lid has a seal on it. Oh, I'm trying to do this one-handed. Has a seal on it, and it's a 5-gallon bucket, and it holds my 25 pounds of sugar. I believe I can put 40 pounds total in it. I adore these. Halfway through, and we're bubbling up. I saw when I was stirring that part of my butter pat wasn't quite melted. But what we're looking for before we put the sugar in here is a rolling boil. And a rolling boil is, even though you stir and stir, you cannot get the boil to go away. So we need it to where this is a full rolling boil so that we can put the sugar in there. But I'm going to use my immersion blender, my Ninja, and smooth this up a bit. I don't want it quite this chunky, so I want to get some of these chunks down. So let me get that going. So I turned it down a bit, and I'm going to use this Ninja. It has a turbo, but you hold it down and it just smooths out those strawberries a little bit. Not as chunky. Of course, it slops it around. You gotta be careful. Maybe put your apron on. So I've got some of that foam going, but I have less chunks and a smoother consistency. And I cannot stir this boil away even after putting all that air in there. It's still boiling. So I'm about ready for my sugar, which is going to bring the temperature down. So when you put the sugar in there, the temperature will come down and you got to bring it back to a rolling boil. Sorry, y'all, my one-handed operation. I did get a fancy holder for my phone. Yeah, I don't know how to use it. I'll get with the program. We're going to mix this in really well. Oh, yeah. Got it mixed. Pretty good. I don't feel, you're running your spoon around there to feel any lumpy stuff. If you can smoothly go through the strawberry, you're good. So we're starting to see that come back to a boil. Let me get my jars. Okay, so while I was getting my jars prepared, this came up to a rolling boil. I cannot stir it down, and I had my timer on for 1 minute. So I'm going to turn it off. 1 minute. You have to do it for 1 minute. That's the timing. So I'm just going to put this on the side and push it off the heat because I have 2 more jars to pull out. I just lightly boil them. Sorry, my stove is a hot mess. Lightly boil them to heat them up. So hot jam in hot jars. So I've got my jars in my hot water, and I just want them a little bit warm. So when I put this extremely hot jam in there, I don't crack any glass. Of course, I wear glasses, so I'm steamed up, and I can't see anything. Good times. That. Oh boy, it's a talent to grip those. So I have 7. All right, my lid. Keep this nice and warm. They don't boil off too much. Okay, here we go. You want it to a 1/2 inch of headspace, which is just below this first ring here. This first ring. So that looks about right. So we'll go to the next one. The headspace allows for enough air in the sealing process, but not too much air that bacteria can sit in there. So I'll keep filling these, and I'll show you when they go in. So I have wiped the rims of the jars around the top for any of the sticky gooey that may have bypassed the funnel. Wipe the rims with vinegar because it's very sticky jam, and put new lids on and the rings. And I am very surprised that a double batch did not give me at least 8 jars. I have 5. What happened? So I've got these in here. They're gonna water bath for 20 minutes, and then we'll set them out on the counter and let them cool a full 24 hours. So tomorrow morning I can take the rings off, check the seals, and put them on my shelf. And this will be scraped into a container and put on my toast tomorrow morning. Yippee. My time is up for 20 minutes, and I've tinted the lid, tilted it, whatever you want to say, to let some of the steam out for a couple of minutes. And then I'm going to lift these out and put them on a towel and let them cool completely. And then they're all done. Label them, and they go in my pantry.